You touched on something specific earlier that I have a little passion around. I want to talk a little bit more about how this will affect those specialty curriculum areas. You talked about arts. Well, I took 4 years of yearbook class and turned it into a career. So I want to know, what does that look like from Midland Public Schools perspective, and working with those students that have some interest that might be outside of the quote unquote norm. I don't want to say that, but everyone's kind of got varying interests across the board.
What's interesting is I think part of what makes us special at Midland Public Schools is the variety of opportunities we provide to students for curricular experiences. We have art, we have music, there's just so much. World language, PE health, career tech ed. So part of this proposal is to modernize many of those learning spaces. Our band and orchestra and choir rooms need a deep renovation at our high schools and middle schools, and that is part of this proposal. Our art classrooms need some renovation as well. Our career and tech ed, I mentioned that before. We're really excited to think about how we can bring those into a modern age. Those programs are meant to match industry standards and prepare students for entry into the workforce, as well as entry into apprenticeship, certificate programs, community college, and university. That's one of the beauties of CTE, is that it can get you anywhere you want to go. But we need to ensure that our facilities really match those standards. So there is, there's a little something for all of our students in this proposal. Every single school will be touched by this bond program. And I think that's something to really be proud of, that we're really attending to every single facility and the experiences of every single student.
And within Midland, what I find so cool in Midland is that people have varying different hobbies and things that they really fall in love with. And there's a lot of passion areas within our community. And we have a very passionate swimming community here as well. And I'm sure their voices have been heard as well in this process of the ballot proposal. So can you tell me a little bit about how this proposal might take them into consideration?
Yeah. Do you mind if I expand that a bit? Because there were actually 3 groups that have a lot of passion for their areas. And these sort of came to conversation through this planning process. So I'll maybe start and end with swimming. The first is our aquatics community, our robotics community. So we have amazing robotics programs through the first program, elementary, middle, and high school. So many students engaged in this. Actually, last weekend we had an amazing event over at Dow High for our high school teams. These students and adults who support them need space. We are out of space, to the point where we are currently renting a facility here in town. And that lease will be up soon. We need to find a more permanent home. One of the initial considerations in the bond planning was to build a robotics facility. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was around $14 million. We have identified a building here in town that we can purchase for a fraction of the cost. We fulfilled our commitment to that group to say, we can't put this in the bond program, but we will find a solution for you.
Are you turning Oscars into a robotic? No, I'm kidding.
Didn't even think of that.
No, I'm kidding.
So we do have a solution for our robotics teams and all the amazing adults who support them. The other group that came forward really seeking to engage about the space that they need are the theater and arts students and staff and families. They love Central Auditorium. It's a beautiful facility. However, there are key performances each year where either the stage isn't big enough or the audience space isn't adequate. Okay, so wouldn't we love to have a new auditorium? Yes, the board had to consider, though, again, we're already at $285 million. We really can't, in good faith, go beyond that and put that out to our community for support. How can we find a solution outside of this bond proposal? So we've dug in. The Midland Center for the Arts has been a really great partner. We're engaged in conversations about how we can rent space from them for these key performances. We've received really great feedback from our community that is the path forward, finding these community collaborations to maximize space that we've already invested in and is such a gem. So we're excited to see that through. The third group, as you mentioned, are our aquatics friends, and pool space is a thing. So the new middle school that we're proposing will not include a pool. Northeast currently has a pool. That was a tough moment for us all to reconcile. The aquatics community, holistically, here in Midland, doesn't just include our swim teams and the Dolphins Club. It includes infants and toddlers who are learning to swim, and it includes some of our older citizens as well. And so we're trying to look at this through the lens of a community solution. The board, again, felt adding a pool was not a financially responsible decision at this point in time. So how can we come together with the city of Midland, who owns Plymouth Pool, and Greater Midland, who has a beautiful new pool in their facility, and us, and the Dolphins, and really think about what a viable solution can be. There is an aquatics committee that's been meeting and will continue to meet. We believe that we can have a path forward that really maximizes, first off, this idea that we can do this together as a community, and that we can find an ideal solution to meet the needs that we have for training lanes for all of our swimmers. I'm confident we're going to get there. I think it's just us staying connected and continuing those conversations.
Awesome. So there's just so much moving here. I just unbelievable that you can even remember so much that's going into this. I know you're living it day to day, but
though. It is my life. It's so important.
So important. And you mentioned teachers quite a few times as we talked. And regardless of anything going on with facilities, you said that the most important thing is that teacher in that room. And, you know, we have this space of talent development retention here in Midland that we are really trying to work on. And it's not just a Midland thing. I think most communities are working on this. And we are in competition for talent all the time.
Yes.
And I thought it was cool. I went to a new teacher event maybe a month and a half or so ago.
That.
I think it was at Northeast.
Yes, it was.
Max Loves Midland showed up and said, hey, here's how you can find events.
Great.
What was neat about that is I was out with some of my people out at a restaurant, and I saw a group of those teachers that I think met at that particular event. So just tell me about your process of getting new teachers involved in the community and how you're really bringing them into this ecosystem in this place we call Midland.
Well, I want those heart glasses back because that's not.
Here we go. We can set them right there for you.
This is how I feel about our teachers. And I want to be clear, when I say teachers, it's really our entire team. We have amazing support staff. We have, school psychs, social workers, speech pathologists. Now that I started naming them, I'm going to forget one. And then it's, how that goes.
You'll get an email.
Paraprofessionals, bus drivers, like everyone who is part of our team matters. And students know that, it's those connections again that matter. So lots of love for our team at Midland Public Schools. But to answer, your direct question, I think that is incredibly important to create not just a sense of belonging at work. If you're at Dow High or you're at Plymouth or you're at Central Park, we want you to feel a deep connection to the team that you're most immediately working with. But we also want you to feel that across our organization, and we want you to feel that in our community. I wholeheartedly believe that when you feel those connections, you start to understand that you are Midland, right? You don't just live here, you are part of Midland. And I believe that makes your roots deep and makes you want to stay here. So we're just working hard to engage our new team members in all the endeavors that we do at Midland Public Schools to help them see what they can connect with and engage across our community, and then to really build this network. There is nothing like this bond you have when you're going through something together with someone. And being a new teacher is hard, especially when you're in a new city, in a new school. And I just I'm thrilled to hear that you saw this group out together. That just brings me great joy.
Well, it just harkens back to that idea is, we're so much more than our role, and we're so much more than titles we put on us. So you're a superintendent, I'm a communicator, my friends that work at restaurants, friends that work retail, friends that police officers, firefighters, whatever. We're all one of one, and we all have this very specific role. But unless you feel that one of one, you're probably not going to interact with the community in the same way. And I think that much like the way that you went through this particular ballot proposal, regardless of the outcome, there's a roadmap to be looked at about how to bring people into a community and bring people into the fold. And if we're not trying, we're not doing.
Yeah,
so I thought it was just so cool to see that event because there's not a lot of places doing onboarding in that way that takes onboarding from just the inner workings of their specific second place of work and brings it out into those third places where they can share space in the community. So if people can hear about Dow Gardens, if people can hear about the Wellbeing Coalition, if people can hear about Cultural Awareness Coalition, Public Arts Midland, what we're doing with Max Loves Midland, the Center for the Arts, so many places, Greater Midland, Dow Diamond, we can go on and on for places where people can gather and come together and make themselves a part of this community. So I just thought that was really neat. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. Subscribe wherever you consume media. Max Loves Midland is your entertainment, resources, and collective improvement hub for Midland County. Plan your next adventure in Midland at maxlovesmidland.com.